Look what it's doing to America. 7 out of 10 adults in America drink. Now listen to this. Now this is going to give you a stunner, and here it comes. 1 in 7 drinkers is an alcoholic. 1 in 7 drinkers is an alcoholic. 1 in 7 drinkers is an alcoholic. And there is strong evidence that it could be caused by genetics. Now, listen to this. Studies have shown that if you take identical twins, the babies of alcoholics, and if you adopt them out to other parents who don't drink, those babies are still 3 times more likely to become alcoholics. They haven't found the gene, but the Bible talks in Exodus 20 about visiting the sins of the fathers upon the children to the 3rd and 4th generation. 1 in 7 drinkers is an alcoholic, and 1 in 7 people who start to drink, 1 in 7 is destined to become an alcoholic. 1 in 7. Now listen to this, please. A minister, a doctor, a parent has a tremendous example. Think of your example. I want you to turn over here to Romans 14. I'm going to give you an argument. You can argue about some texts until the cows come home, but you can't argue about this one. Romans 14, verse 7. I challenge you to argue with this argument. Romans 14, verse 7. For none of us lives to himself alone, and none of us dies to himself alone. Verse 21. It is better not to eat meat or drink wine or to do anything else that will cause your brother to fall. I wonder how many here would be prepared to play Russian roulette. I've had parents, professing Christians, say to me, we disagree with you 100%. We are teaching our children moderate drinking. I want to say to you, you are playing Russian roulette with your kids. I want you to think that you have 7 children. There's Tommy, and there's Patrick, and there's little Jimmy, and there's Susie, and there's Patricia, and there's Julie, and there's Andrew. So you're going to teach them moderate drinking for the simple reason that's what you want to do. And as you teach them moderate drinking, you are dooming one of those children to a life of hell as an alcoholic. Where is your conscience? Where is your love? Where is your Christianity? I remember years ago when I was a boy going to college, I heard Dr. Schaffenberg speak, and he told a story that I cannot get out of my mind. He was visiting a great penitentiary here in the United States of America, and there was a young man who was going to be executed in the electric chair. You know what the boy had done? He killed his mother. Dr. Schaffenberg said, son, tell me what happened. He said, I had been drinking. He came home, and my mother was waiting for me, and she started to nag me. Why are you home late? You know you shouldn't be out there, and you're drunk. And he said, I couldn't take a nagging anymore. He said, I went into the kitchen, and I found a big carving knife. And as my mother was nagging at me, I came to my mother, and I stuck it into her stomach. He said, I'm terribly sorry. I killed my mother, and I'm going to die in the electric chair. Dr. Scharfenberg said to that young man facing death, "Son, just for the record, I want you to tell me something. Who gave you your first drink?" He said, "Dr. Scharfenberg, my mother gave me my first drink." If you've got children, and if you're a moderate drinker, 1 out of every 7, by the law of averages, is going to become an alcoholic. My mother gave me my first drink. I ask you, where is your love? 40 to 50% of young people who drown die because of drinking. Listen to this. Between 240,000 and 360,000 of the nation's undergraduates this year will eventually die from alcohol. 95% of crime on college campuses is alcohol related. 90% of rapes. Here's a quotation from Scientific American. Nearly 1 out of 5 teenagers has experienced blackout spells when they could not remember what happened the previous evening because of binge drinking. More than 60% of college men and almost 50% of college women who are frequent binge drinkers report that they drink and drive. Some of you have heard of fetal alcohol syndrome. Now, the best parents can have children with defects. And parents who have children with defects should never, never feel guilty. It's not their fault. But if you drink, the odds are it is. Fetal alcohol syndrome, which may occur when pregnant women drink, is the leading cause of mental retardation in the Western world. I appeal to the mothers. Love the baby in your womb.